Hi everyone, I'm Kevin Kopp. All this week we are catching up with our Student Athlete Award winners from last week's Celebration of Champions. Yesterday we talked with Phil McNeil from Temple Men's Crew, our Male Scholar Athlete of the Year, and we hope that you'll check that out. Today we have Millie Howard from Temple Cross Country and Track and Field, who became the first student athlete in recent memory to win both of the year's major awards, Scholar Athlete of the Year for what she did in the classroom and Athletic Performer of the Year for what she did on the track. Now, we had caught up with Millie a few weeks ago, so we're going to replay that interview for you today. You'll notice this was a pre-quarantine haircut for yours truly, but the interview stands up even though it was before both of these awards were given out. I think it's a conversation well worth checking out. So here is Temple's Millie Howard. Millie, you're across the pond right now. Thanks for taking some time in your afternoon, my morning, to talk here.
Yeah, no problem.
So let's go back to the moment that this all happened. Obviously, just about the worst time imaginable if you're a track and field student athlete. You're coming off of the American Athletic Conference Championships where you had a terrific individual performance, a couple of medals. The team has a program best third place finish. So you're going into NCAAs with all of this momentum, I'm sure all these positive feelings. Just take us through those moments where you found out about everything unraveling the way it did.
Yeah, sure. So I flew out to New Mexico with my coach, Coach Snyder, and Coach Ford was already there. And obviously we understood that like things were going on and it was looking a bit shaky, but we didn't have any kind of idea that it was going to be cancelled. So we flew out. My family actually flew out to New Mexico to come and watch me run. And yeah, we found out, I think, 2 days before the meet that my parents weren't going to be able to watch me run. They weren't going to spectate. And then the day before the meet was meant to start, we found out that it was cancelled. I was actually at the track while everyone was warming up. I was doing my own pre-race warm-up. And I mean, everyone was just, people were crying, like everyone found out at the same time. And it was just a really, really sad environment to be in because we all worked so hard. And to have it taken away from you the day before, just kind of, at that time, it felt really unreasonable. But looking back, obviously, it was the right thing to do.
And then how long from that point, I guess you get through that emotional gut punch of having the national championship canceled kind of at the moment of, I'm sure you're thinking, okay, well, there's going to be a spring, there's going to be an outdoor season, I'll still be able to finish my senior season on a high note. At what point did you kind of get the back end of that 1-2 punch?
Yeah, so I found out at about 3 p.m. New Mexico time that the meet was cancelled, and then I got back to the hotel. I was kind of gathering myself. I was like, okay, I still have my outdoor season. If I can qualify for indoors, I can definitely qualify for outdoors. And then I found out a couple of hours later that the entire spring season was cancelled.
So I'm sure to now fast forward to the present, I'm sure this has just been an emotional time and such a difficult time. All the while you're still finishing up your senior year of classes, but I want to get to the important point here, which is your decision to come back. The NCAA granted relief to all spring sports student athletes with an extra year of eligibility. Take me through that process and what is it that made you decide to take advantage of that opportunity to come back for another year?
Yeah, so I mean, I'd already applied to have my like OPT extension, they call it, so that I can work in the States for a year. So I wanted to stay around in the United States anyway, and work, and I had a job offer. But yeah, I've decided now that I can't kind of finish my NCAA career like this. I really felt like I was starting to gain momentum. I qualified for nationals for the first time, and like I don't know. I think if I didn't take that extra year, I'd always think, oh, like what if, like what could I have done? I also kind of thinking pragmatically as well. Like it's a really scary time to be entering the job market, and having the opportunity to pursue a master's degree and also continue running was something that I just couldn't really pass up.
Oh, I know there's still so much that is getting worked out across the country, and different schools are having different responses to this, but Temple was pretty clear about this right from the get-go, that any senior that wanted to come back for that extra year would be granted their scholarship at its current level, and it seems like while we're all trying to figure this out as best we can, that Temple has tried to make it as easy as possible for the fellow seniors that are in your position. Is that your experience having gone through this process now?
Yeah, I mean, straight away, even before we kind of knew what the NCAA was going to say, Coach Snyder said to me, even in New Mexico, he was like, look, Mills would love to have you for another year. We're going to let you do this. Like, we're not going to let you finish like this if you don't want to. So on my end, it was very clear that I had the support, which was amazing. I mean, in such a time of, worry and it's all a bit crazy, it was nice to have that, that gesture.
So I know this is a really hard question and no one has the answer to this, but what does the next 12 months look like for you now? Obviously, you're in a little bit of a unique position, coming back as a fifth year. Take me through graduating as an undergrad and training now for the outdoor season, which is where that eligibility will lie in your fifth year.
Yeah, so luckily with like track and field, we have opportunities to race even if we're not running for Temple, because there are always races that you can enter as unattached. So I probably won't enter any cross-country races. It's not my favorite thing to do, but I'm sure during indoor season I'll head up to Boston or go to one of the meets in New York and just enter unattached. It means that, I'll have to pay entry fees, like Temple can't cover any of my travel expenses. But I can still race, which is really, really important. So yeah, it doesn't mean I can't race. It just all depends on what, the rules are with the coronavirus and whether races will be happening. But I'll just be training hard. I love running, so it's not hard for me to keep going.
Well, to that end, we've talked about the uncertainty. What does life look like for you right now? Obviously, first and foremost, just your health, your safety, the well-being of your family, and then on top of that, just what are you able to do, if anything, training-wise right now?
Yeah, so I stuck around in America for a bit. I stayed with my boyfriend, and then once things kind of got a bit worse, my parents were like, Millie, you need to come home. I think the UK government issued a warning saying for British citizens to come home, so I decided to fly back home. Here it's not terrible. I'm still in classes. I'm a tutor for the Resnick Centre, so I'm still doing that virtually. And in the UK, you're allowed to leave home for one exercise a day. So that's been the one kind of I've struggled with that a bit because I often run twice a day. And I've only been allowed to run once. So I've been doing my main session, I've been running that and then just using the bike indoors. But generally I'm just staying safe, being cautious. I've got my granddad living with us, so we need to be extra careful with him. But on the whole, I'm okay. It's just, everyone's in the same boat.
Well, you mentioned classes in there, and as we're speaking, I know finals are about to happen. Probably by the time folks are watching this interview, we'll be in the middle of finals. I would be remiss if I did not brag on your behalf that even though the NCAA didn't hold its championship, the Elite 90 Award is given out at the site of each of the 90 NCAA championships to the athlete in that field with the highest GPA, and you were honored by the NCAA with your 3.98 GPA. So that recognition, has that even, amidst everything else going on, have you had time to reflect on that, what a huge honor that is?
Yeah, definitely, especially because, it's any NCAA's athlete dream to compete in the NCAA finals and the championships, and it's hard enough to qualify for indoors because it's only top 16 in the nation. So qualifying for that in itself was a huge achievement, but then I think then on top of that to win the Elite 90 award, it just kind of it made it a little bit sweeter, even though I couldn't run.
Well, Millie, best of luck to you as you navigate this right now, and I can say for all of us around Temple, somewhat selfishly, we're lucky to get to see you compete for another year, and we're really looking forward to seeing you go out the right way.
Thank you so much, Kevin. Thank you.
So that was Millie Howard. Our series of interviews with Temple student athletes will wrap up tomorrow as we'll be talking with Temple football's Matt Hennessy, our male athletic performer of the year and third-round draft pick of the NFL's Atlanta Falcons. So we'll see you tomorrow. Thanks for watching.